Alright, so today I am going to be showing off some of the combat features of the Foundry Virtual Tabletop Exalted Third Edition module. The goal of this module is to make combat just a bit easier for storytellers, because Exalted Third Edition's combat is got a lot of moving parts. So let's get into it. First off, I'm going to make sure everyone's values are correct here. Bring them back to how they should be. So the Death Knight needs 36 motes. Janist should be at 41. Alright, so first we're going to highlight all of these tokens, add them to our combat tracker, and then we're going to start combat. I am using the Lancer Initiative module because it allows me to keep track of who is taking their turn, because characters are going to be jumping all over the place in the initiative, because that's how Exalted Third Edition works. So let's begin combat. Now, if I don't have any way of really boosting my join battle with things like charms, I can use the built-in roller. So we're going to do that here, here, and here. Now it doesn't show the roll if you do it like this, but the roll is being done in the background. Siaka rolled 2 successes and had +3. The Dragonblooded rolled an impressive 8 successes, so he's got 11, and the skeletons rolled 1 success, so they have 4. Now, for these 2 characters, they have the ability to boost their join battle, so we're going to have to use the join battle button. For Janist, she's got 5 awareness, 5 wits, which means she's got a dice cap of 10 that she can add using her excellency. Doing so will cost 10 motes. We're going to put that cost in there, and we're going to roll it. Click. You can see that her motes went down, her anima went up, and she rolled 12 successes for 15 initiative. Now, let's do it for the Death Knight. Join battle. Death Knight's can just add 5 with his excellency. Okay, now he's got 11 initiative. And that is how we roll join battle. So, Janist is up first. So let's click this to start her turn. Janist is going to attack the Death Knight. We're going to target the Death Knight with this, and then roll using her final season artifact Scythe. We're going to click to roll. It automatically calculates dexterity and melee. If you have an ability like the lunar ability to attack with strength, you could use that. She has a specialty in scythes, so we are going to use that for this attack. And Janist is just going to go all in and use her full excellency. But we're going to use the add charm feature to add a full excellency. To do that, first we have to make the charm. So we got a list of charms here. I've made one called full excellency. Click here. We can see, now this is keyed into resistance, but this will work with any ability. I have set a mote cost of 10 here. And in the effects, I have set a dice bonus of 10 here. We can do other things like increase damage, lower target number, and add specific reroll numbers. Let's go back to our roll. Let's add charm. Full excellency. Done. And we can see that 10 dice have been added, and 10 motes have been added here. If we wanted, we could remove this excellency, and it would return back to 0. Now, the Death Knight has a defense of 6 and a soak of 15. This is automatically calculated from the values here. If the Death Knight wanted to increase his defense with an excellency, we could just increase that by 2. Let's do that. Have him spend 4 motes and increase that number. Let's have Janist roll. Bam. Okay. So, Janist rolled 19 successes versus the 8 defense, 11 threshold successes, Her damage for her scythe is 14, and then she adds another 11, 25. Minus 15 means she's got 10 dice left, and so she did 2 damage because that damage roll was terrible. Let's go back here. We can see that Janice gained 3 initiative, 1 for hitting the Death Knight, and then 2 damage, and the Death Knight lost 2 initiative on the tracker, lowering him below Iron Siaka. That's going to be Janice's turn. Let's move on to Iron Siaka. Oh, before I move on, the Death Knight also has Onslaught. Every time you target someone with an attack, they gain an Onslaught penalty, which reduces their defenses by 1. We will return to Onslaught when we get to the Death Knight's turn. For now, it's Iron Siaka's turn. I'm going to close these. Now let's have Iron Siaka attack these skeletons. She's going to use her Dulcet Consolator, her magic giant mace thing, to attack the skeletons. Let's roll it. Now, let's say I want to add some charms, but I don't really want to deal with having to manually add it every single time. Well, all we got to do is, in Siaka's case, she can lower her target number to 4 and add 3 dice. She also has specialty in maces, which we will add, and let's save it. Mace attack. Now it's saved. So, if we go into here, we have our mace attack. Let's actually delete those. Our mace attack, which is a withering attack, and if we click this button, it will automatically roll. Bam. So, we can see that we rolled 18 dice. Now, it saves everything, but it will automatically use the defense values from the targeted character. In this case, the skeleton has a defense of 8 soak, 3 evasion, so it's going to use those values. It always uses the higher of the 2 defense values. We can see the skeleton here took 11 damage, which was automatically added to their health track here. If you wanted to change to, say, lethal damage is the default, but if we wanted to change it to aggravated or banishing, we can do that here. So this guy took 11 lethal damage, though that doesn't matter for battle groups. Because he was a battle group, despite dealing 11 damage, Iron Siaka only gained 1 initiative, but this battle group took 11 damage. We're going to keep this guy on the board to showcase some of the battle group's attacks on its turn, but at this point it would be dead. For destroying a battle group, Iron Siaka will gain 5 initiative, which we will update manually. Next up, we have the Death Knight. You can see that the Onslaught just disappeared here. So, because it's the Death Knight's turn. Now, we're going to have the Death Knight try to use a decisive attack. Death Knight is going to attack Janice. Now, the Death Knight is kind of pissed, so we're going to use 10 full dice, 10 emotes, and make that full attack. We'll also use a willpower. Roll. So, he rolled 22 dice. That succeeds against Janice's weakened defense. The threshold successes do not matter in this case because it's a decisive attack. And the Death Knight had 11 dice for his initiative. So, he rolls 11 dice. He dealt 5 lethal damage. Oh, I was targeting the skeleton there. Okay, you can see the damage here. Goes up to 5. Let's clear that out. And put this on Janice. There we go. 5 lethal damage, putting her at a wound penalty of 1. However, the Death Knight now has 3 initiative because he made a decisive attack. Okay, now let's go to our Dragon-Blooded Sorcerer. Close these. Dragon-Blooded Sorcerer is going to begin casting Death of Obsidian Butterflies, which I put under his spells here. To do that, we go into here, click Shape Sorcery. We're going to add 3 automatic successes, use a willpower, spend 6 motes, and roll it. 9 successes. He's got 9 sorceress motes. Let's check the cost of the Death of Obsidian Butterflies. Cost is 15. So he's unable to cast it, but he'll most likely be able to cast it next round. Now for the skeletons. Skeletons remove their onslaught because it's their turn. And at this point, the skeletons would be dead, but I'm going to showcase an attack. They're going to attack Iron Siaka here. Now they are both able to attack Siaka and Janice, but for targets, we would have to do each of these one at a time. So first, let's attack Iron Siaka. We have no real way of boosting their powers, so we just roll. Attack missed. And we're going to showcase how withering damage works for the skeletons here. We're just going to add a bunch of accuracy to boost the skeleton's attack so that we can showcase what damage does. So, the damage here was 6, but you can see the skeletons did not gain any initiative because they are a battle group. Instead, Janice took a simple 6 damage. If Janice was crashed, this would be doing health level damage. Now, the turn is up, or the round is up, so we're going to move on to the next round. Reset everyone's attacks, and it will restore 5 motes to everyone in the combat, at least the ones that are using motes. Now, before we finish up here, I'm just going to show off a gambit. Let's say Iron Siaka wants to disarm this Death Knight. Let's target the Death Knight. Roll a gambit. He's got 6 defense. This is a decisive attack, so Iron Siaka does not get her weapon accuracy bonus. She does get her specialty in maces, though. She's going to use a willpower. She is going to use her excellency. And we're going to see what gambit difficulty is. So, she's going to use the disarm gambit. So, difficulty would be 3. Now, the gambit was successful. Iron Siaka loses 3 initiative for using the gambit. And the gambit was successful because it successfully hit. And the amount of initiative dice she had was beat the difficulty of the gambit. Now this Death Knight is disarmed, so we're going to add the disarmed condition. The disarmed condition doesn't do anything by itself other than indicate that he's disarmed. The other ones of these are heavy cover and prone, and these will automatically add the penalties. For example, if this guy had heavy cover, we can see that his defense is 5, but if Iron Siaka tried to make an attack on him, his defense is 7 because he has heavy cover. And that is it for the basics of combat.